Okay, I will call this meeting to order of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Mancos at 7:05 on September 25, 2024. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cindy Simpson.
Aye. Present. Sorry. Aye.
Present.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Present.
Trustee Daniel Hyde.
Here.
Trustee McMahon.
Here.
All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. I would entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anyone have comment? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it passes. The next item is the approval of the minutes of August 28, 2024. Any comments, concerns? If not, I will entertain a motion and a second.
Make a motion we approve the minutes of August 28th, 2024. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next item is audience business. And let's see, we have two people that signed up. I'm just going to read a little bit about what audience business is and sort of the framework around it. Oh, are you here for agency contribution discussions? Okay.
I'm actually here for the 3Q5 LLC.
Yeah.
For the local.
Okay.
Both agendas.
All right.
So we have
Cool.
audience business.
Okay, all right, well, then I won't read the whole big thing about the rules. We'll move on. No audience business. So our next item is announcements. Heather, you want to start us off?
I do have a couple of announcements. We are still trying to get written approval from the Lions Club on the Park project. So Chelsea and I and the artists are staying in contact. If we don't see any movement on that in the next few weeks, we will be coming back before you with information and requesting further direction from you. We received the grant for the SRO, the COPS grant that we applied for, in the amount of $125,000. We just got the notification today, so it's going to take some time to execute and that kind of thing. But we did get that grant, which is will fund salaries, 75% the first year, 50% the second year, 25% the third year, the fourth year we're on our own. But that grant will fund the salary for our SRO. There has been some movement. Casey Simpson from Four Corners Recycling Initiative has reached out to Todd and I to talk about recycling for 2025. We are going to have a meeting, the three of us, but I wanted to let you know they are asking, or going to be asking for in excess of $17,000 to keep that program moving. And the school is not going to want to obligate the district to house the bins and be responsible for cleanup and that kind of thing. So you are going, they did not apply for agency contribution this time, but after Todd and I meet with Casey Simpson, I may be putting this on a workshop item to get some feedback from you all, because we are not, the new legislation states that waste haulers must make provision for recycling in coming years. We are not an enterprise fund. We don't do trash hauling for our citizens. We do water and sewer. So we are not subject to that legislative requirement. But the fact that if they don't get the 17,000 or whatever it is, that recycling will go away, I'm gonna want discussion and direction and that
Yeah.
kind of thing from you, so maybe be thinking about that. And then once we have our meeting, I will come back to you all with some information from that meeting and get your thoughts. And then, you all have a staff project update list that I gave you, so if you have any questions on that or want any additional information on that, please let me know. Yes.
Kennel IGA?
That
Refresh.
is, that's with the Cortez Animal Shelter, when we take stray dogs, very family dogs over there.
Right.
You're seeing that on your October 9th meeting, request for review and approval
Okay,
or discussion.
I remember you bringing that up before. Okay.
If you are reviewing this and have a question, yes.
Just because I have to ask,
So there.
don't flush that mailer.
So this is the staff
That's my favorite
project.
item.
You will see acronyms and all kinds of stuff. So our sewer plant, people flush things, or they get in the manholes and put things in there, or whatever. So what staff is going to do is we have what's called a "Don't Flush That" flyer.
So they're getting their favorite things they found.
Exactly.
Mail
It's a paper terminal, like you showed them. Your letter.
Elk.
Yeah, I was just
It was
gonna
an
say, there was like an
It was an
elk.
elk head.
But they have hundreds of dollars in cash.
Well, that's
out
fine, send that.
Well, I would know.
No, that should be on it, please flush this flyer.
So staff is working on, occasionally we just send a mailer to all of our utility bill holders, and that
They
don't
went
flush
into the
that.
sewer.
We have to do some ADA review compliance and stuff, but eventually that mailer's gonna go out to us.
Okay, I just,
Sorry.
you dangle that right there. I'm gonna ask the
I was
question.
thinking-
It's the bottom of the list, so I saw it.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's,
Google sewer systems and Google.
Yeah.
I really don't want to.
Ooh,
That would be
fatbergs, those are super
Like a good
exciting.
use of social media, you could make the staff do a song and dress up, don't flush that. I can see it.
Thank you.
Yeah. They'd all quit.
In the meantime, if you are looking at this or something pops up, send me an email. I will put this on a future agenda to, just as an FYI, we're going to have it.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
And then one last thing that I have on here is that we have the CML district meeting last night in Ignacio. And Cindy and Brent attended to represent the board of trustees, so I don't know if you all have anything for them or if you want to.
It was really cool. It was a brand new venue that they haven't even really opened yet, that we went to. It's a Center for the Arts. It's a for-profit business that's part of the community there, that they've raised a lot of money in the community, like 1.2 million so far through grants and other means to build this for the community. They're really making it into like a community art space.
Okay.
So they're going to be hosting classes there for all ages, from youth all the way to retirees, and it was kind of one woman's vision for what this space should be. We had Bayfield, Pagosa Springs, Durango, Ignacio, and Mancos were there from our region. And I think that Cortez wasn't there because they had a board meeting last night on the same night, and then some of the other ones, I don't know if they have conflicts or anything, but it was a really well attended meeting. We got an update on kind of the legislative slate that they've talked about for this year, and then they've reached out to all the communities to try to get people on their policy board, and I think that Jamie's going to do that for us to keep up with the policy changes at the state level. So they had 2 members from CML there. They had the one of the legislative, pretty much lobbyists, and they also had a more of a support staff person there that was discussing all of the things that are coming up in the next few months, and it was a really cool meeting. We are hosting the next meeting in springtime.
Go us.
So we need to start thinking about like upping our game, because Ignacio put out a nice little spread, and they also had a really cool slideshow of a bunch of pictures of the town with like old pictures superimposed with new development. So
Yeah,
we've got some ideas.
How many people attended?
About 30 total,
yeah, 30,
mostly Ignacio.
35.
But
Yeah.
Bayfield had a big contingent there, and
Yeah.
I think there were 3 from Pagosa, 1 from Durango, and then we had I think one of the larger. We had 5 there. So Carol Stout from the P&Z also attended with us.
Mm.
So it was really nice. We got to meet some new faces I haven't seen as well. So
Yeah.
One last thing, I will be working remotely next week, it's
Yeah.
my week. And then while I'm up there, I will be attending the State Transportation Advisory Committee meeting in Denver. It's twice a year, we have to appear in person, and October is an appear in person. So I'm working, but I'm working remotely.
Any other announcements?
I'll be gone next meeting.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. No, Nick, Daniel?
Nope.
Andres, anything?
I'm all good.
Okay, right, anything else? Okay, all right. Thank you all. So the next thing is committee reports, and so let us know if your group has had a meeting or not, and let us know what happened. So I don't see anyone from Montezuma County Commissioner, so we'll skip that, unless somebody has, okay. Region 9 update
Tomorrow we have a meeting in Durango.
tomorrow?
Jason
Okay.
and I are going. Yeah? Oh, heck
Right
yeah.
on.
Wouldn't miss that. In person.
Ah.
Missed the last one, so I'll be there.
Cool. Montezuma County Planning Commission meeting update?
Just got the packet, there's nothing else for
Yeah. Okay. Mancos Creative District?
No.
Okay. Mancos Valley Chamber update?
nothing big, no. Just business after hours went well. They're always excited to have more local businesses represented. Cool. Grand Island Eve is coming up. Super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Their big fall event.
Okay. All right. Mancos School District update?
So they had their first district accountability committee meeting. They seem to feel that went well. There are a lot of legal updates that they went through, but it's kind of too much to get into here. They talked a lot about the BOCES meeting, which is, if you're not familiar, basically Montezuma Cortez is trying to be their own. They're trying to opt out of BOCES, and there's a lot of discussion around that. Nothing can happen until July of 2025. If it does, they asked the superintendent Burris asked Todd to write a letter of support. The school board opted to not write that letter, to abstain, because they just feel it's not a good use of their time. They're really happy with the early learning center, and forget her name, the person who's leading that. Just really happy with her learning resource guide and this kind of prescribed plan that she's working on or created. They talked a little bit about, I guess they got some lights that are too bright. They're trying to be good neighbors, put some shades on or something, some houses. And then they touched a little bit on the SRO, just that they had 16 committee meetings for the MOU. And then they just kind of talked about some of the stuff that's in the agenda item that we'll see. So I won't go into that because we have an agenda item on it. So that's it.
Right on. Thank you. Anything we missed? I don't think so. I think this is a good list.
I
All right.
want to say I attended the P&Z meeting last week,
Oh, yeah.
but we're talking about pretty much the only thing that happened on the agenda. So we'll just wait till that.
Okay. We'll wait till it comes up. All right. Next up, discussion and action items. And the first item is Green Kiwi LLC retail marijuana license renewal. Is that Jamie?
Yes, and we do have a representative from
Hello.
Will here. If you have any questions.
Okay.
If you have anything.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a couple quick points. Well, first, I'm glad to hear that, Magus residents.
Will you say your name and
Yeah.
just for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Mitch Blackstone. I'm corporate counsel for Green Q5 LLC. Businesses there well. 101 Railroad Road, right up the street here. I work on our licensing team under our compliance department. I work very closely with Izzy Pellicone, who unfortunately could not be here, but he extends his best and will be out here hopefully very soon. First off, I'm glad to hear that people are not flushing cannabis down the toilets. If they are, please let us know.
That would be a waste of money.
bigger problem, I think, maybe than just the town sewer. I will say, I'm pleased to report we've successfully been operating our retail license for the last year of business without any material impacts that have impacted any of our operations and thankfully anything in the community. I'd like to take a few minutes just to provide you a quick recent updates on some of our community engagement over the last couple of months. As well as some current ongoing things, as well as some things to potentially look forward to in the future. This past summer in June 2024, the Little Magus team partnered with Vitalent. It's a Colorado-based organization that donates blood, and they had a blood drive in our dispensary parking lot, which I believe is still slated to come back October 5th, on or around then. It was great success. There was a good amount of donors that came through, and the donees are very happy to see that supply come through for them as well. Little Magus also in June 2024 sponsored the Neon Magic show hosted by the Magus Food Share. This was happening at the Magus Opera House with a bunch of live events. Not sure if any of you all were there. I was personally jealous that I did not get the invite coming out here myself, but I was told that it was a big hit with the residents. And lastly, in July, the Girls Magus Days, we did post up a tent, had a lot of apparel and engagement with a lot of the adult use consumers with a couple of discount cards for them. Obviously, no one under the age of 21 would be allowed to participate, and we were glad to know that no one, in fact, did so. Lastly, as you can see on the side of our dispensary right now, our mural artwork is coming along very nicely. I've been told that the scope is placing that somewhere within the coming months that will be completed. So any unforeseen delays. I was glad to stop by the store and see the managers, speak with the men who are working on the murals, and they were very excited to see that come through. I think it personally looks great myself. I'm very proud to be with you all here today. I traveled quite a long way to be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all have with the license renewal, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. All
I
right.
just do want to point out there have been no violations in the last 12 months, and the marshal's office is good.
Thanks,
Right,
Jamie.
right. Cool. All right. I would look for a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to move to approve the renewal of the retail marijuana business permit for Green Kiwi 5 LLC, DBA Livewell, conditional upon receiving the renewal license from the state of Colorado, and authorize the town clerk treasurer to send approval to state.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Brett McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Daniel Hennick.
Aye.
Trustee McMahon.
Aye.
All right, it passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for
Have a
coming.
great evening. I'll make sure that the staff knows to come grab a license. I'm going to assume that the state is not going to have any issues, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oops. All right, the 2024 agency contribution follow-up reports.
So you approved for agency contribution requests during the first round. We had nothing in the second round.
Mhm.
All four of those agencies were asked to be here to provide their follow-up reports because that is a requirement for future funding. So the four agencies that you funded were Cancer Resource Alliance of Montezuma and Dolores Counties, Community Connections, Four Corners Recycling, and Magus Gearship. That's what we have here, so Cindy, I don't know if you want to use your agency signer or sign up, but obviously we have a representative from one here.
Yes.
The other three will be notified next time they submit an application and they have to sit out.
Yeah.
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 Great.
Because they weren't here to provide their follow-up
Yeah, and they didn't provide anything in writing either, so, yeah. All right, so name, address, and tell us all about
I'm
it.
Carol Baumgartner from Hospice of Montezuma. I'm the executive director for hospice. I have been there for 21 years. Hospice Montezuma has served Montezuma and Dolores from state line to state line, including the Mountain Preservation, for the last 35 years. Our primary service that we provide is end-of-life care, helping people that have received 6 months to live diagnosis from their physicians. So everybody's like, well, you're Medicare funded. Part of the things that we do, because we are a community nonprofit, is look at the community and say, what else does this community need that we have the resources to provide? Because we're already providing these resources for our hospice patients, we have the knowledge, we have the skills, we have the resources, so how can we use that to benefit the community? And so what we have done is built a tremendous bereavement program, community support, resources, and so all of that is completely unfunded. It's not part of our Medicare funding at all. They do mandate that we provide bereavement to our patients, and we have taken that and thrown it into the, meeting the community needs, because there is such a huge need for it. We're the only ones providing it without a charge. So we do not charge for any of our bereavement services. And so that's what the grant funding is for. We do apply for several grants. So we also get funding from Onward, City of Cortez, Empire Electric, as well as personal donations to fund our bereavement and community support programs. So with the 2024 funding that you provided for us, we had 2,608 hours of bereavement, 49 hours of travel, and 2,014 miles that we traveled to help people, just with our unfunded programs. That included 405 bereavement visits in person, so individual people that needed support, in-person visits, 405, 734 phone call visits, and 599 mailings. We do a weekly men's support group. So we had 52 of those. Women's bereavement support is, we do 12 per month. Caregiver support, 12 per year, sorry. And then we started a new program, which we call SWEET, which is the Senior Wellness Education and Enhancement Program, which we do monthly to just provide support for the seniors in our community about what resources there are out there, what questions they have. We typically have a speaker that comes in and talks about, what's going on. So this next month, it will be on Medicare Advantage, particularly directed at people who are looking to enroll, do their Medicare re-enrollment, about the disadvantages and what are the pros and cons for signing up for Medicare Advantage. We also started a Pet Peace of Mind program. So what we found is that our hospice patients, when we're helping them find resources for their end of life, they maybe have animals that would, need rehomed. And so the Pet Peace of Mind is actually a national organization that we partnered with. And then, of course, we're Hospice Montezuma, so we took it one step further and added on the community piece as well. So we started with Pet Peace of Mind. We had an Animal Resource Day. We did a Conversations Around Living, Dying, and Death event. Advanced Directives Day, which is a pretty big one for us, where we have a physician, a lawyer, family members, and try to hit all of the end-of-life areas, and those are all available on our YouTube channel as well. We did bereavement training for all the clergy in the area, so to help the clergy, with any questions or support they might need for helping people through bereavement. Memorial Day bereavement event, caregiver voice research study that we worked with, I can't remember which university, where they were working with caregivers to find out what support they needed. Right through the holidays in October, which we will be again doing that, trying to help people, have some understanding and support for they go into the holidays or whatever, losses that they've experienced. And then the Blue Holiday Bereavement event as well, which will be in December. It's always tries to be around the longest day of the year. So, and so we do try to give back to all of the community in that, and the grants are the only way that we can do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, that's really comprehensive.
Thank you.
You guys done a lot of stuff.
Awesome service to the community.
I don't have my paperwork in front of me for the next meeting yet. Are you applying for another referendum?
Yes, for 2025.
So my question is, does she need to come back to the next meeting and give you the same presentation?
I can come up with new stories.
I mean,
To be eligible for the next round.
I think for consistency, because we're asking everyone else,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, so,
Yeah.
we can do that.
speaking for all of us, but
So October 9th.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
right.
And so these other agencies that did not show up, they,
So she said hospice. Which one is that?
well,
Other
I need
cancer.
to look at, I was just
Okay.
telling Jamie, I need to look at my notes because
Yeah.
I know for a fact that we've given them money, and I may have made a mistake in my staff report.
Okay,
But I also know for a fact that Cancer Resource Alliance is planning for October 9th. Are you here for Cancer No, she's here for
Hospice.
hospice. But
hospice.
Cancer Resource Alliance has submitted an application that will be heard on October 9th.
Mm.
They were also advised that they needed to show up tonight to give a follow-up report from their
Mhm.
previous
Oh,
funding
shame,
application. So, I'm gonna need to contact these people, if you all are okay with it. It is a requirement, it's in the application, it's in the documentation. Anybody who got money in 2024 did not show up tonight. I'm going to verify that we did in fact contact them via email, make sure we didn't miss anything, and screw anything up.
Yeah.
And then once I verify that we've done our due diligence, these agencies that were not here tonight, that are planning on being here in 2 weeks, I'm gonna let them know they're not eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Because they agreed to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's in our,
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
in
our
the application.
It is, so
We
we
have that.
remind them and we send emails and that kind of thing, so I will make sure that we did everything proper on our end. Because
Yeah.
if we're
Let's just
going
double
to
check that, yeah.
refuse to hear an application, I am gonna
Yeah.
triple check.
Yeah.
Before we do that, but I don't know if you'll hear, they may still attend the meeting, you may hear comments or anything, but just giving you a heads up. So once I triple check, I will send you an email to say, I triple checked.
Yeah.
We're good.
Because you might hear about it out there, so that'd be great too. Yeah.
But I just wanted to let you know, because it has happened that people don't show up for their follow-up.
Yeah.
And they're just.
So thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
One quick thing, Carol, if you ever need help fostering, you might want to reach out to the Dog Ranch in Lewis.
Okay.
My mother runs that. She's got all sorts of land and space for dogs. So if you ever need some space, reach out to her.
I know what you asked for. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my dog ranch.
Yeah.
It's called the dog.
The Dog Ranch. Yep, you can find her on Google.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You better text your mom.
Yeah.
No, she'll love it.
All
She'll
right.
love dogs.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. For the report and for everything you do. All right. Seeing no one else here, we'll move on to the Resolution 15, Series 2024, lifting fire ban for homecoming.
I will let Jamie take the lead on this.
Okay.
Randy Lewis does apologize. She is the president of the student council at the school, and she was getting her senior pictures done this evening, so of course I wasn't gonna make her rearrange that. So, but they're having their homecoming game October 4th, and they would like to have their traditional bonfire. The fire department will be there. They've already confirmed all of that. They will monitor the fire throughout the whole thing.
Great.
Any questions?
And
Where is it typically?
It's in the sand, or over by the sand pits on the football field.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And we haven't had any problems in the past. I haven't heard of any. Okay.
never having an issue with this event. The fire department actively is on.
Yeah.
Well, they had to move it after they built the new field. 'Cause they couldn't put it on the new field because it's plastic.
Melt the,
It would melt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only change.
yeah.
Oh, and they are gonna do a carnival instead of the homecoming parade this year,
cool.
and it'll be open to the public all day on the 4th.
Okay.
Fun.
That's cool.
Very cool.
That's neat. Do you know, is it a fundraiser for something or?
I'm sure it will be like for the boosters, student council, who knows, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice. All right. Any comments, Nick? Daniel?
I guess when I heard it, I was just a little alarmed, but the fire department being there and actually being on site, I wasn't sure exactly how it was going down with the, with the current, state of wildfire risk. But if they're going to be there and the fire department's okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Cool. Andres?
Yeah, I think my question was location. It seems like we've never had any issues with underage drinking, so if it hasn't been an issue,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Brent? Okay. All right. I would look for a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 15 series 2024, a resolution temporarily lifting the ban on open fires within town of Mancos limits for the Mancos School District homecoming bonfire.
Second.
Ooh. We have a motion and 2 seconds. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Brett McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Daniel Hennig.
Aye.
Trustee McNeely.
All right, it passes. So they can have their fire. All right. Next up is School Resource Officer MOU with Mancos School District.
So I'll touch this off. I would like to change my recommendation. I don't know if we want to make a motion to approve it tonight. The school board discussed this at their September 14th workshop, which I'm not privy to because it's kind of like our workshops. And then they talked about it a little bit more at their meeting. We've been talking about this with the school for several years. And currently, Jesse is assigned Deputy Minor is assigned as the SRO in the school district. He's been in there for the last year, kind of getting his feet wet, getting to know people. He is scheduled to go to Specialized NASRA, which is the National Association of School Resource Officers, training for a week in Texas this month, or October. And where we are now, like Daniel said, the school formed a special committee, a public safety and security committee, and they've been talking about an SRO in addition to some other safety upgrades to the school. And so this form of document is something the school presented to us. Justin doesn't have any issues with the document itself from a managing the document and the expectation standpoint. I did meet with Justin and Todd and Will at the school just as a one final wrap up for the two organizations to make sure we're on the same page before we're presenting this to you. The SRO it's necessary. It's an important position. I think that Deputy Minor has done an outstanding job, as evidenced, as an example, when he was out recently due to a personal tragedy. Students were coming to the back door of the marshal's office to see how he was doing. So he's really connected with the students over there. And one of the things that the school stated in their meeting was that they've done extensive outreach to make sure that their parents and their staff and their students are comfortable with this idea. And they stated that there's overwhelming support from the parents and the staff. They surveyed every single secondary student, and 2/3 of those students had zero concerns about an SRO. Students feel that the officer presence offers better safety and security. And out of the 161 student responses, 112 strongly favor an SRO. So I feel that the project itself needs to happen. I feel that there is support from the students who are going to be most directly impacted by the presence of the school. And then parents and staff are also very much in favor. So now it's kind of the legalese part of it, which is getting this MOU drafted and agreed upon and adopted and gone through the overview and that kind of thing. So what you have in your packet is, and our attorney did provide a form of MOU that the school chose not to use, so we agreed to review this, to use this form. So David has reviewed it and the comments and everything in the packet. And David, please jump in, but I did kind of put in here his concerns. The biggest one, I think, is the overstepping. It oversteps into kind of the burning of the marshal's office, and it might be burdensome on the town, some of the requirements in here.
Privacy,
That
confidentiality.
Now, Justin has, and I never want to not follow all attorneys' advice. But I did ask Justin, the requirements in here, in the SRO movement, solely from an administration standpoint, can we meet the requirements that we're going to be held to in this document? And him and Brad and Jesse, they don't have any concerns about it. They're willing to, because this is so important, they're willing to put this extra effort into this SRO, to put the extra training, to put the extra reporting, to put the extra collaboration and meeting time with the administration and the staff and the students. They're willing to put that time in to make sure that the SRO is successful, trusted, and utilized. So that's kind of a brief overview. I don't know if you want to step in, David, if you want to ask questions, however you guys want to do it, and then I'm here to answer.
Yeah, I think you covered it all well there. So you can just see in this graph, kind of like that, there was some ideas, and so Heather had comments, and I had some comments, and so I think, probably what will happen is this will go back to the school with a red line kind of version, and then say, hey, you guys do these suggested changes. Kind of back them out of, having charge of this staff versus so yeah, I agree. It should come back probably soon.
Well, when we moved the school, they had some concerns. Like I said, I wasn't privy to the whole workshop conversation, but they didn't approve this at their meeting either. And
Yeah, it seemed like they didn't have,
yes,
they didn't really talk about the MOU too much, right? Yeah, it was just kind of.
Well, the board had no, really say on it up until that point. That was the first time they had really seen it themselves, and they had questions.
So they haven't seen this yet with all the.
They had
They
questions
don't
as well.
have to go up to Denver, like their attorney.
Yeah, right. Did they have an attorney review?
I don't know if their attorneys reviewed it. That's
I can't imagine they did, because there's just so much in here that we can't do.
yeah. I don't know if their attorney, I don't know what their legal side is.
One of my main concerns was, David kind of commented on a lot of it, but just them trying to have some authority over the discretion of our officer, and that, that's just the officer's discretion, and then we have other legal mechanisms, not these in-house programs that they referenced. We have Montezuma County handles that. If there's a diversion program, that's Montezuma County. If there's alternative, then the officer knows what discretion he has already, and he can exercise that. So that was my big concerns. And then the incident reports, it seemed like they wanted to review incidents, and that seems to me, or my understanding is that's private confidential information, arrest records. School board shouldn't get it unless they are a party that is authorized to get it, I think. So that's just some of that stuff just stood out to me.
I'm asked.
Like on an aggregate level, they can discuss, this many incidents, but they can't discuss like specific, this particular student did this or that. So them wanting to have these meetings about the incidents is just something that I don't think we can do. I mean, David, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, if it happens on school property, like on school grounds,
Mhm.
the school is privy.
Well, but I think it's just the staff, like they can't then share, you know, hey, we know this kid got arrested, but they can't go and then have a discussion with the school board about that. That employee would then have to, you know, keep that confidential.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
I see what you're saying, okay.
Heather, did you have more that you wanted to walk us through?
No, what I was gonna say was, my question to Justin and when we had our meeting, there was something in here about if something happens off campus,
Mm-hmm.
there's a requirement here that our SRO has to report that to the school. That is a CHASA requirement.
Oh, yeah.
So, because I kind of had the same concern, so
Mm-hmm.
depending on, it's my understanding, that it's going to be like student specific, because if CHASA has certain rules, and then that has to apply to that student.
What's
Like that student thinks that they're
Athletic association.
they're an athlete. So, but if the student is not an athlete, CHASA wouldn't come into play. So all of those are gonna have to be considered and
Yeah.
we're going to expect, again, as part of the training, we're gonna expect our SRO and our marshal
To know that,
to
yeah.
know what agencies they are supposed to pull in,
Right.
contact, what information they're supposed to provide or not provide, depending on what agencies are in play, what the actual incident entailed. Because again, if it's I'm throwing rocks at a window versus a harassment, physical.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to rely a lot, just like we do now on our officers, incident specific, knowing what agencies to pull in, what is a mandatory report,
Sure.
that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So because I had asked the same question, I was like, why, these are juveniles, why are we? And so in certain instances, CHASA will require to report. Even if it happens off campus, outside of school hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I guess one other concern was that example list they gave. That, I mean, drugs, alcohol, not involving an SRO immediately. I mean, it seems like they're trying to influence the officer a little bit with, yeah. I mean, drugs and alcohol on campus seems to me like an immediate SRO involvement.
Well, that was my other question, because I got this in the agreement, and this document that has their
M on it.
These are going to be their internal guiding documents. They're not part of the contract, the MOU. This is what they've come up with so far as their internal guiding documents. And we commented, as you can tell by some reveling, but this is something that their school board is responsible for drafting and enforcing. We don't have any authority over this.
But
now,
if they're claiming authority over our resource officer, there's a conflict.
So, for example, if you look at page, so let me just say page 15 of 124, or of the packet, or page 4 of the contract.
Yeah.
You'll notice in the middle where it says SRO shall not enforce the student code.
Yeah.
So we don't have to, we're not required, our post-certified officers aren't required by law to enforce a student code of conduct, that's the school's responsibility. But they have put in there, SROs shall not enforce penal laws, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, we're not gonna put it in writing that our guys aren't gonna enforce the rules, that's not.
Right. If it's a violation of the law, they are required to.
They take an oath.
Yeah.
So I did have kind of the same initial reaction to the document, like outside of me, before I did reviewed it. I had the same initial reaction to the document with like their interview committee didn't include a town employee.
Yeah.
And we don't have any objection to adding an additional step for the hiring process for an SRO.
Is that
because when
legal?
we hire a marshal, we have a staff committee, we have a public citizen committee, we have a public meet and greet because they're so public facing and so
Yeah.
important. So we don't mind for an SRO having the school have a piece of the interview process, but they have no authority.
Right.
They can
Okay.
give us their
Yeah.
input,
Feedback.
but they have no authority.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so we're walking a line because again, it is a collaboration. Bottom line, we can put an SRO in that school without any discussion with anybody.
Yeah.
Marshall has that-
We're just trying to be
has that
collaborative.
ability.
Yeah.
But this is such a huge project for the town. It's very emotional. It's very important. So we're doing our best to collaborate.
Yeah.
When we have a final form of contract, we're hoping that the entire process doesn't fall apart. But if it does, our kids will still be safe.
Yeah.
Under town
Okay.
marshal's office jurisdiction.
Okay. Nick,
So
did
we're
you?
trying our best.
Oh, were you done, Dan?
Sorry.
I can weigh in with my final thoughts.
No, I'm still processing.
Okay. Andres?
I'm gonna stay quiet for now.
Okay. Brad?
I'm not. So, yeah, right. I mean, the main thing is I agree with all the comments on the red lines from both of you. And I think that, we need to send them a document with our thoughts on this. And I know that they're going to be discussing this at their next workshop and their next meeting.
Yeah, so they were trying to, October, November, they were trying to.
Yeah, it's going to be October. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's some discussion amongst the board that they want to ask some questions at that one. And so I think they'll be reaching out.
Justin and I already have plans to go to the October meeting. We did offer to go to the September meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And administration felt that it was better served to allow them to have a discussion first. So we will be attending the after I heard the school board comments during the meeting. Justin and I have already planned to attend that meeting to be available to answer questions. He will take the lead and I'll just.
Okay.
That's it.
More? Okay. Well, I have a few things.
Okay.
I noticed it specifically on page 5 towards the top. And we have like this clunky old-timey language in there, like his or her official capacity. Just put there. Because it's just shorter and it's less gobbledygook. So just, I think anywhere where his or her kind of thing comes up, let's just modernize. And then, let's see, page 7, VA, so 5A. What was my comment here? The wording looks like, and draft is like right on top of it, so it's hard for me to tell. But it looks like the wording is going to end up being awkward in that one. So just kind of, once you like take the red lines out, just sort of do a read through the whole thing, because, weird things can happen. And then page 2 of the schools document with the M on it. And I totally agree with what's already been said about, I don't want our law enforcement's hands tied in terms of what they are, we don't uphold the student conduct, but I don't think we should be prevented from upholding the law. So, let's see. So page 2 of the school document, I think, yeah, that spoke to some of those things. And I totally agree with Daniel, like drugs, alcohol, yeah, that's why
Fighting,
we're
Sexual
there.
harassment.
Yeah,
Fighting.
sexual harassment.
It's a weird list because they have PDAs in there too.
What makes me think like they're
Yeah.
trying to hide, they're gonna try to bury stuff, like they think that the law enforcement, and they're gonna.
Theft.
I'm sorry, to interrupt.
Mhm.
Theft is on there.
Yeah,
Right. Theft,
Yeah, I mean-
vandalism, obvious crimes
Yeah.
that they're gonna
There's
try
like
to
a
have
whole bunch of
filter
things
system before it gets to the SRO.
It does say immediate SRO assistance, so maybe they're thinking they're intervening first and
And so
then it's
Yeah, I
going
think
to
they-
SRO.
Well, and I do have notes that like drugs, alcohol, and the sexual harassment, I have SRO, so I
Yeah.
ordered the red line.
yeah, good.
Mhm.
But the way they explained this to me, 'cause I said,
Yeah.
like sexual harassment, what?
Yeah.
These items will probably start with teachers, parents, and staff.
Exactly. And
And then they're gonna go to the teaching students. And then they're gonna go to the safety and security coordinator, and then they're gonna go to the SRO.
Yeah.
These, all staff are required to go direct to the SRO. So like student on student, and it doesn't mean that a student can never go direct to the SRO. This is to direct their staff.
Mm.
So if teachers or the staff witness these items, they are to follow this protocol. If staff witnesses these items, they are to follow this protocol, which is go direct to the SRO.
yeah.
That's how this was explained to me.
And
So
so
having
maybe,
said that, I'm moving or redlining
Mm-hmm.
drugs, alcohol, sexual harassment, straight to staff SRO.
Yeah.
Your guys' request.
Yeah. Well, I think especially in light of recent events in the county, we've seen that at least 2 higher ups in a school district did not report things that were required to be reported. And I don't want to see that happen here.
Yeah, that's exactly my concern with this
You know.
list, that there are so many people before the SRO,
Yeah.
and the SRO should be immediately involved to conduct a good investigation. I mean, there shouldn't be a delay of, it's gotta go to this person, this person, this
Yeah.
person, and then now we're getting law enforcement
Yeah.
involved in something that they should have been involved in to begin with because there's a suspicion of a crime.
And also, I want to ask, what is para?
Paraprofessional.
Paraprofessional.
Oh,
Not
okay.
a teacher, but like a
All right.
Hello, teacher.
Yeah, okay. And then also on page 2, the list of no help needed, it just denies the RSO being involved in
The list of-
legal violations.
Do not require immediate.
Yeah, that immediate RSO assistance thing. So sorry, I was being redundant. Yeah, so that's,
Yes, maybe some discussion with the marshals can just kind of give them a little training, like, here's how it has to go because of this or that. 'Cause that might just solve this whole list, you know.
that was
Adjust
good.
adjust your workflow.
Well, and I can see where they're coming from on some of the items there because we don't want to immediately involve I'm sorry. I'm saying you definitely want to involve the SRO in a lot of these things, but there's some things that are not like as pressing right away. Like some of the smaller things on there, you don't want to go straight to an SRO that could exacerbate it as well.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
And
Sure.
Justin, I hope I'm getting this right, but like for me, when I looked at this, I looked at it from a mom standpoint. It was like, I don't know if my kids want to go through. But that's not illegal. Our law enforcement isn't going to take, they're not going to write them a ticket. It's illegal to sell underage, but it's not illegal for the kids. And our guys aren't going to go over and ticket kids who are smoking. Now, the school can enforce their code of conduct.
Sure.
Exactly.
But, so there are nuances to these that law enforcement understands that I do not. But what I am going to do and what we do have the option of doing, like I said, are the drop dead items. Because for me, the job, I mean, I almost lost my mind when I was like, why is sexual harassment here?
Yeah.
That's not
It seems like anything that
so
breaks
they
the
were like
law.
student on student sexual harassment.
Mhm.
It's okay if the teachers and the deans of the school get involved and talk about that. And at some point, the SRO will be involved. But other types of sexual harassment, adult, staff, things that we don't like to think about, immediate SRO involvement. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, find him if he's not on duty. You know, that type of, so that's the difference kind of between these two lists. And I will bring this discussion, obviously, back to Justin, back to Todd,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. But prior to the school board meeting, so that we can all be on the same page. And again, the school doesn't have to like all of this either. We are in the discussion, negotiation, making sure that everybody's on the same page. And some of this stuff, we're absolutely willing to discuss. Some of these items, from the town standpoint, not optional. We're taking out the language that says they shall not enforce. That's out, it's not an option. So I'll take all of these comments and questions and discussion items. What I'm hearing overarchingly is no school authority over the SRO, but it's okay to have collaboration and input.
Yes.
But no actual authority.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what I'm seeing in that list too, what I'm hearing is that their process doesn't supersede ours. Anything that violates a law involves an SRO, and they don't get to have the first crack at it.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing as we're talking about these two lists, is that what they're trying to do is say, well, we need to go through our process, because, I've run schools, and it's like, we have our process, we have our culture, we have to go through this, blah, blah, blah. And what we're saying is, no, we need to draw a line around anything that is breaking the law. And so we are going to kind of butt hesitant around that, I'm feeling. But it's a jurisdiction piece.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure, and the other reason that this is running like concurrent with the school year is so that we can meet with them every year.
Yeah.
To have that, because it's important. But one of the things that I was assured is, again, our boots on the ground legal authority lies with the SRO and the marshal's office.
Yeah.
So we can have agreements, and we can say we're gonna provide reports, and we can say, well, here's how the procedure works, and this is how your reporting works, and this is what the school wants to happen. But ultimately, our SRO does have the legal authority from a criminal, I know we don't want to say that with regard to children, but with criminal acts on board.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's not conducive to collaboration. It's not conducive to, team building and that kind of thing.
No, but it's a fact.
It is a fact.
Yeah.
It is a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd should understand that
They know.
They can't
they're
supersede
opening
our
the
legal
door.
system.
The board
They're
knows
opening
it.
the door to liability on the school side if they're going to attempt to
Yeah, right.
manage this
Absolutely
in-house. And there's a law being broken, they have an answer. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of.
The board is aware of that.
Yeah. Okay, final thoughts.
No. So.
Nothing?
It just struck me that parking lot searches, are they doing parking lot searches? Why did they put that on the school can search a kid's car?
Yeah, it's on school ground.
Yeah.
They're under the school's care, custody, and control under the age of 18.
What if they don't park on school grounds? They're just parking.
That's why it says parking lot
Yeah,
searches.
probably not.
They park on the street.
Interesting.
I know where I'm parking.
All that, just like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't violate their right to due process? Under legal search procedures, the school can do that.
I don't think so. And again, that's not gonna be our problem.
Yeah, right.
Right, that's
It just struck me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that. I don't, I'm not throwing them under the bus, but they have to
Yeah.
have
Okay.
their own attorney and their own legal.
Yeah,
because
that's their review. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wanna weigh in on
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
that.
No, I guess it's just my concerns with the school, personally then.
Yeah.
That-
Okay.
Very different concerns as a parent than.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right,
say,
right.
It's hard to.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? Andres.
I'm curious, and again, I'm new to this process, but if this whole SRO thing came from a specific incident, or if it's just something people have wanted.
Aztec?
It's been, so the town and the school have been discussing this as long as I've been here. We had an SRO at the school for a couple of years. And then, it comes and goes with superintendents. Because some superintendents don't want us anywhere in their business, and they don't want to have anything to do with us. And then some say, we want an increased presence on campus. So it's been under discussion for as long as I've worked for the town. This specific round wasn't instigated by a specific incident. It's just schools are gravitating, more schools than not are looking into having SROs. It's just a change in the culture.
Yeah.
It also, if I
Part-
remember, just from my time on the board, it kind of started when they started their upgrade at the school. And they had started increasing the security at the school itself too. That's kind of when we started discussing it, when we had our board to boards with them. And it was not too long after the Aztec incident back in 2017, I think it was.
It looks like the data drops, but in the last 3 years, it's 44%, 49%, 51% of schools across the country have SROs, so it's right around that half.
Yeah, like I grew up with an SRO in my school.
I did too.
We didn't carry a gun, they weren't allowed to carry a live weapon, and I think this is a very different case. But again, the town can't decide that. Right?
Yeah.
The school can't decide.
Totally.
I had 4
We
in
had
my one school. 4?
We had 0, but then I'm of the age where we were supposed to hide under our desks from nuclear bombs. So,
You're still here,
Yeah.
so it works.
yeah, still here, worked. Tornadoes, nuclear bombs, whatever. Okay, anything else? All right, I think you got the gist of our comments.
I do, so I will work on this with Justin specifically, and then we will, take it back to the school and Todd and see what transpires.
Okay. All right. So do we need to do anything
No motion
formally?
necessary.
Okay, just
I've got
feedback.
my marching orders.
All right. The appointment of planning commission members.
It is time to reappoint our planning commission members. Peter Brandmore has stepped down, so he will not be serving on the planning commission. So we are asking you to reappoint our 2 existings and an alternate. Ann Coker is currently serving as our alternate. So they decided that Kathy Seibert will be, if you ratify this appointment, Kathy Seibert will be the chair, Carol Stout will be the vice chair, and will be the planning commission member. And then at the next meeting, we do have 2 applications to fill the 2 alternate positions. So they will be hearing those, making a decision, and then you'll see alternate appointments.
Great.
So we're asking to ratify the appointments. Kathy and Carol will serve for 3 years, I believe. Ian will serve for 2, so we can start staggering. And the alternates will serve for 2.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? All right. I'll entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to reappoint current planning commission members Kathy Siebert, Carol Stout, and Ann Coker.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Brett McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Andres Esparza. Aye. Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee McNair.
Aye.
And we will be doing a little appreciation, 5 minutes for Peter at the next meeting. Just he has put in years and years of service to this.
Years.
So we'll be doing a short little presentation
Great.
ceremony at the next planning commission meeting if anybody's interested.
Cool.
Nice. Do we need to let you know in case there's?
No, it's already publicly known.
Okay.
So I'm going to, on the agenda, make a little note, so
Okay.
anybody can come who wants to come. I'll just make a little note that the board of trustees may be in attendance. A majority of the board of trustees may be in attendance in the public.
Okay. All right. Nice. Thanks. All right. So vision survey discussion.
I'll start, then Jason can pick up, and then if you guys have any questions.
Okay.
Go from there. Jason's been working on this for a while. We've got community visioning, a survey that we did in 2023. We did a survey in 2024. We need to do more details about that, but we're going to continue to do this survey year after year to see how things change in Memphis. We presented it to the planning commission at their meeting. There were no substantive changes to data or anything. What they did ask, and so we're asking you for your input, is they wanted to make the survey more widely available next year. Currently, it's all electronic through SurveyMonkey, but they do want us to print paper copies, place them around town. They want us to put information on the water bills and try to reach a wider range of people.
Yeah.
So, and if the board directs us to do that, we will. And if we get paper copies, staff will just put the information in and it'll be compiled. And then some of the graphs, they didn't like how they looked. So they would prefer bar graphs or something like that. So giving you all their feedback, and then you will make the ultimate decision on this. This is a recommendation from the planning commission. The other thing that we could offer to them is this is a lot of information. If they want to take after they've had a chance to look at it, if they want to take a deeper dive into any specific subject, they will let me know. We'll put it on the agenda, and then Jason will take care of that. So that's the kind of my high level overview and feedback from the planning commission. So now, if you guys have any questions or anything about Burgess?
Got anything to say?
No, I mean, I think the sentiment from planning and zoning was there was just some general concern about it being a representative sample. So I think anything we can do to increase participation, definitely helps that case. And obviously if we do paper, we'll be doing some hand entering of data. So there's a component of that, but other than that, I'm really happy to try to get as many folks surveyed as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I would say just like find out when civic groups are meeting, Lions Club, just any of those kinds of groups. Rotary, if we have one in chamber, and just let them know, have like what are those little things you can scan them? Yeah, QR code.
That's what they had before.
Yeah, QR codes and, drop off paper copies at the visitor center. Well, I don't know, maybe that's, because then we're just gonna get a bunch of people from Oklahoma.
There's a myriad of strategies that I thought about that I didn't necessarily carry out just because of the timing of being here and how we do this. So this year I'll be a little more intentional. I'll probably start trying to get these out in December. Run through kind of the year, give it maybe a little more windows, just kind of follow what we've done before. So, yeah.
I had a question about the representation of it. Like, do you have the demographic data for age groups, or is that not collected?
That was not. It's not in the survey. Right. What is who's a resident and who's not?
Right.
So, if we want to add demographic questions, I suppose we can, because it doesn't necessarily change the longitudinal study.
Right. You're just adding.
It's just maybe a little bit more of a deeper dive.
Is it useful? Is it useful data?
No.
It's like striking the balance
I think I should not for this group.
Not for this group, but I mean in general. But
yeah.
I mean, do you guys want that?
Yeah.
I honestly would like to see that, just because if we're trying to figure out how many people we're getting this from, if it would have been good information to have for this study this time, if we're thinking that majority of the elderly in the community don't necessarily do electronic responses, this would give us a better breakdown of how much we're getting in the community. Like, are we getting only the young people of the community responding to this?
Right.
And then now with a paper option as well, we might be able to get, more rounded demographics in here. And then it would be nice to know, are we getting only the retirees responding to this, or are we getting only the young people in the community responding to this? So I think it's useful information.
I do too.
Yeah, we can have one question at the beginning and just ask that. What's your age range?
Yeah, and just do a gamut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and would you like us moving forward on every survey that we put out, not just vision survey?
Yeah.
Would you like us to include an age question?
Yes.
I think so, because especially if we're doing digital mostly on our surveys, I'd like to see, because we have all the anecdotes of only young people are doing these surveys that are online and
I
stuff.
actually think it's retired baby boomers that mostly do the.
But in our planning and zoning,
I think it's the opposite.
But in the planning and zoning though, every one of the 3 members up here said that they would never use their phone to do a survey like that.
That might be a particular subset of.
But I would like to know. I would like to know.
Right. But we
Yeah.
should know so that we can.
If age is, the reason that I ask the question is, age may not apply specifically to vision intent.
Yeah.
We want everyone.
Right.
But
We
other.
don't care if you're 20
Right.
or 80. We
Yeah,
want
Right.
everyone intent. But it sounds like what you're looking for is how can we better reach
Yes.
different age
And
ranges?
who takes the survey, right?
Yeah, and
There's
who
a
takes
population
surveys.
missing.
So we'll
Right.
put an age
Yeah.
data on every survey that we do.
Yeah.
not just this one.
Which might
I
just
think
be-
that would
it would be good.
great.
Yeah.
Because that way we can find out if we're missing a demographic. Like
Yeah.
somebody doesn't feel they have a voice or they're not noticing.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And then we
Yeah.
can better fine tune our outreach to the community.
Well, that would be the impact, right?
Yeah.
We can kind of
Mhm.
Because if
Directly
only
target.
the one subset of the community is doing these, then
Yeah.
we need to do a better job at
Yeah.
figuring out ways to reach the other demographics.
Sure.
All data is good data.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Jason? Okay. Nick?
No.
Andres? Brent?
I think the one thing I kept going after the meeting and thinking about was like, there are some things that I would like to get a little more information in our report that comes to us maybe. I know that this is going to go online and we want to make it as easily readable by the community and the citizenry. But there are some things like I was talking in the meeting last week about like the water, what does that mean, or what are the comments that anybody has put into some of these things. So there's certain things like on our report that comes to us, I would like a little more of the information. It might not go into the final one that goes online, but if there's like because people can comment on SurveyMonkey, right?
Some of them, yeah, I mean, I think I included comments in like the actual raw data.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the raw data, but there's certain things on there that I have questions of like, why are some of these things shifting? Like if it's more than a 10% shift or something like that, that's kind of the data that I'd like to see the more information on year to year. So if it's something like that, last year was 54% and then the next year 74%, if we have any more data other than just the responses, I kind of would like to see something about that, or at
Yeah.
least it called out in the report, on the major shifts.
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about data that the survey doesn't collect? I'm really trying to maintain
Yeah.
the same questions.
No, I'm just saying,
So
Right.
This is kind of what I think we were talking about doing. So if you see something and you want a deeper dive,
Mhm.
definitely more data on it somewhere.
Yeah.
You can go and do that research for you guys and provide it to you. If you have something specific, like you notice, and I made my own notes, like, yeah, notice there's a shift in this and a shift in that.
Yeah.
No, I was just I'd be curious. Like question 2, why do you live or own property in the Memphis area? 10% of the people said other, and I'd just be curious, what did those 20 people say? Because there's a whole bunch of the top 5. We get the graph shows the fancy top 5, but then there's a whole bunch of other people that I'm just curious. I mean, I'd love just as a person on the board to understand what people are seeing in the town of Memphis. There might be a trend there. Those 20 people, they all have the same answer, just not showing up in the results. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like things like that. That there's like other as an option. I would like to see some of that.
Yeah. I had the same questions.
Yeah.
Because and I can set up the survey where it allows for more explanation of that other, but there were some questions where that just wasn't an option. In the Survey Monkey, and I just kind of copied it over.
Yeah. And people may not even put comments in.
So, there's a myriad of opportunities here, especially when you think other.
Yeah, exactly. That's the curiosity, I think.
You know, in some ways, when I see no opinion as an option, and people are marking them,
Yeah.
That doesn't help us.
The other thing we need to look at is the survey constructed the way it needs to be constructed? And if SurveyMonkey is the limiting factor, maybe we need to look at something else. Because, allowing people to put other, I can't even think of a survey that I've taken where you didn't then, explain,
No, I can add that.
It does say please specify.
Yeah, it says it on there. Please explain.
Okay.
You can force them to.
Yeah, you can make a requirement if they
I was just gonna say, if you guys look
They
at
might
page
fail.
63 of 124 in your packet,
Yeah.
there were 179 comments.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
So
all.
we didn't.
I was gonna say I didn't see that.
So we can. That's why we're saying we'll give you the high level. Now we know that you want plus or minus 10%. So we're
like any of the major swings that they happen year to year.
Put it in the staff report for you. Anything other comments, we're gonna put those in a report for you. Anything water comment related, we're gonna include the actual comments for you. That way, we can present what the public is seeing and responding on, and then you can ask us for a detail.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That works.
I would say, well, the other thing that I think would be really beneficial is on the graphs and charts, the percents are there, which is cool, but a dramatic shift from like 54% to 74%, is that one person?
The numbers are below.
And so it's like, I think on the graphs, it would be nice to have percentage / actual number. And that way we can look at, the different years, like with actual numbers, so that we can see if the swing is one person.
If it was 54% and that number was 25 people.
There's the numbers at the bottom of like 65% is 58 people.
Yeah.
Down in the bottom part it says.
I'm just saying, because when I was looking at all of this, I felt like I went through it 3 times. It was like, oh wait, we're back to question 1. So I wasn't picking up on the format of the whole document.
Sure.
And my brain would have liked, for us, again, not maybe for the public, but for us and P&Z working on, vision plans and stuff like that, it would be nice to have everything from question 1, bar chart, comments, the whole shebang, and then move on to question 2. I don't know if that works for everybody else, but I would have liked to have seen it kind of collected all together. The other thing is, I would anticipate with a final version of this, having a white paper or an executive summary with it, where the staff, maybe gets together and they look at the answers and the numbers and all of that and draw some conclusions or suggest conclusions and make some suggestions on what we could do to make that better. Or, and I don't know if that's part of the survey or if that's part of something later, but at some point I think having something that's easy to digest, as a, you know, executive summary on the front of it, like, you know, or what are the different sections telling us?
Or like the highlights at least.
Yeah, like hit
Of
the
that
high
year's
points.
like the highlights of that year's survey.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that would be beneficial to the public as well. You know, if somebody just wants a high view, they could read the executive summary, and then if they wanted all that backup data, because a lot of people like, you know, data, and then they could scroll through whatever we put out there in the.
So we can put that kind of in the visioning survey comparison, can have that executive summary.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, correct me, Jason, if I'm wrong, what we do is what we publish on our website is the graph information. This information is for you and Frank.
Yeah, right.
It's public record, so we're going to
Yeah.
but,
having that information would have been nice. I think that I really liked the bar charts that were like 2023 and 2024 right there, instead of like this chart, that chart. Because I was like, you know, and then the colors were different. And so it was a little hard to digest. Also, just, you know, check for typos, things like that. And then I think if I noticed that, like, as I was scrolling through, I lost track of like what the color key was. And so, you know, like, oh wait, what one's green? What does that mean
I
again?
did have a little trouble with colors too,
Thank you.
seeing because the boxes were so small.
That you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it actually works. And
Yeah.
I tried to fix some of this stuff after planning and zoning. So
Yeah.
there's a version that made it a little bit easier to kind of made some updates, but honestly, there were some of them where it just shows the colors, and I couldn't make it not do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Is that within SurveyMonkey?
Yeah, no, I use PowerPoint to put this together.
Oh.
So
yeah. If you'd have just made the key colors a little bit bigger, that was what I was struggling with. I just had to zoom in a couple times to connect the color to the other color. That was just, and I kind of have a problem with colors sometimes, so might be my issue too.
Yeah.
No, I think the keys, it's kind of interesting trying to fit it all on a page.
Yeah.
And you can move these things around the page, and you can make them look a certain way.
Sure.
So, yeah, let's go do that.
Yeah. Now I'm going to really blow your mind. Probably make you mad. One thing that I saw a few times, but not, I think, on everything, was I think it might be really beneficial after all of it boils down to have a set of bar charts or whatever's best for the data that's being shown. In-town residents, in-town business owners only.
You can do that. You can sort by respondent.
Yeah.
You can see everything as a single respondent.
Yeah.
And I could go through 300 respondents individually and try to figure that out.
Because honestly, they're the people that vote for us. They're the people that we are building Mancus for. And so to me, their input should be more heavily weighted. So you know, and y'all can chime in, but I feel like they're the really important, like, it's good to know what visitors want. I think that's perfectly great. But I also would really like to know what our voters and our business owners think.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the demographics from this year, it said 53% of them lived outside of town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
So Cindy, you want residents of Memphis and business owners of Memphis in that one chart. You don't want business owners of Memphis, business owners of the county, residents of Memphis, residents of the county. Do you want, I'm just trying to make sure, this is the second year we've done this.
yeah,
What we're discussing now is gonna direct our.
sure, yeah, and there's fine tuning, yeah.
Do you want, you want town of Memphis, Memphis Valley? Or do you want?
Well, I think that I think that once the graphs are fixed, like in Excel or whatever's going to work better, then this is going to be good. But then, like, run through the questions and just, yeah, for our deep dive, and just show us, like, the voters and business owners of Memphis, or the residents of Memphis.
It sounds like just processing the data and presenting it back to us like it's a workshop, or it's at the beginning, it's an agenda
Yeah.
item of just like, here's what we found, because even like the comments, like I don't really want to read 300 comments, but if it's part of a like, ooh, we had a 10% shift here, here's the three relevant comments that show why. It's just really, it's just that next step of like processing and presenting to us.
Because I don't know what to ascertain from a 10% jump on something necessarily. Like, what changed in a year in people's minds and mindsets to make something jump that much.
The data may not show it too.
And the data may not show it, but if we have an option where there's comments there, and there are some, I'd like to know what they are.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, either right there or like in the executive summary kind of thing.
I mean, again, we're collecting all kinds of different data that maybe isn't even captured here. So there could be a reason we could demonstrate to another data source.
Right.
And that's helpful, because you're the holder of all that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we got it. I know, I mean, because honestly, again, this is only the second year, so this is the first year the comparison discussion has happened. We have colors and charts and pie graphs versus bar graphs. We've got that feedback. And then moving forward, we will get age data on every survey that we do, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
For this specific, we are going to start a deep dive with 10% shift plus or minus. Other comments. Any question that says other, we're going to include some comment information for you on this question.
Please explain.
And then water specific. You mentioned water specific. So we are going to look at the questions that have water components and provide more information. We may not get it right the first time, but we will bring more detail to you on anything related to water. And we will break out town of Memphis versus all other. And kind of create a mini comparison.
Like a little mini one.
For that information. We're probably not going to provide all of this to you in one meeting. And this will be pretty labor intensive, but I want to make sure that we're capturing what you're looking for to start. And we can, once we do that, the survey is complete. You guys can take as long as you want to deep dive into the information and talk about it and, plans and that kind of thing. But we will start with those items and then see where the discussion goes, where your quest for knowledge goes, what we also want to provide.
So
will that work?
I have a question. When is the survey is done in December till February? About then?
Yeah.
How long does it take to compile this normally? Like,
Well, it depends on what you want.
Spend a week on this.
on this? Okay.
And it's really just a technology limitation.
I guess
Yeah.
my question is, would it be available in time for our spring our spring retreat?
Absolutely, we can do that.
And that way we have time to dive into it. Because if we're making plans for the next couple of years,
Yeah.
in that, it would be good information to have by then that we can use the visioning survey results to kind of help us with some of our decision making on what priorities we have for the town.
Why that time of year? I mean, given that we have the most tourists, seasonal workers, part-time residents, full-time residents during the summer, why?
Following the model.
We just have to stick
Yeah.
with it.
Well,
We don't
I
have
don't
to
think
take
time of
it.
year.
But also in the winter, people are bored. They're stuck in
Yeah,
the
but
house.
there's just a lot less people here too.
Yeah.
We
I
get
mean,
less.
we do want to collect the same data every year in order for comparison purposes.
Yeah.
So, and we're still relatively new, so we can change like
Yeah.
how age things in there.
Yeah,
But, I don't think the time of the year,
it shouldn't affect the data. It just gets more respondents maybe.
More out of town people.
if,
And in town, there's a lot of people who come for just seasonal work.
Mm.
6 to
if
8
you
months out of the
like,
year.
we can change our calendar to say, excuse me, we are gonna spend the next couple of months internally working on what we have here,
Mhm.
fine tuning it, tweaking it, because again, maybe we provide something and you're like, wait, I want this every time we do fall.
Mhm.
But, and then we can put it out in May, or actually then we can put it out in April, for the month of April, May, have it at a June potential, like, this overall information is presented to you in June or July of every year. And you can use that short-term for budget and long-term for your next retreat or for capital plan updates or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I think it gives you more time to kind of fine tune it. But taking some of what we've just given you instead of turning it around and getting it out in December. And I do agree, like, I think the more respondents, the better, for sure.
Especially if we can toggle between resident and non-resident. It's just
Yeah.
helpful to know why people.
Well, and definitely, holiday season, people aren't really doing things like this. Everybody's really busy with things with family and everything too.
Yeah.
So I think the spring would be a better time.
So
Time
publish
frame.
it April 1st, put it out for 2,
Yeah.
3 weeks, and
Yeah.
spend a week compiling and get it to you sometime in May or June.
Yeah.
Because hopefully by then, we have dialed in exactly what you want it to look like, what's easy to
Yeah.
read. We're gonna collect the same data, so the deep dive next year may be different, but the survey itself is not going to change a lot.
Well, and that way you can kind of workshop some different ideas of the data, and you can bring them to us during a workshop or something as well, and say, "Is this work going forward?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works.
Come to us and say, for all your non-specific comments, is this what you were going for?
You wanted this, you wanted this.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, we will, okay. So we will spend,
Mhm.
and actually that's nice, because the other thing it does is, if color keys and charts and having the same colors, and if it doesn't work out in our existing software, whether that's Excel or SurveyMonkey or PowerPoint or Canva or whatever it happens to be, it also gives some time to research that visual impact.
Yeah.
Because that, I think, is a big piece of this for the public and for you.
Yeah.
Visually, how this gets used to start is going to set the tone for everything.
Yeah. Because like if this were able to download into Excel, and I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know how to do this. But you would then have a table with all your data, and then you could do these pivot tables and just pull things, and then you can just say, make a bar chart.
You can do that with SurveyMonkey. You can just download it into an Excel table.
I want to see you do that.
Yeah.
I want to see you try to do that.
I can do a little bit of it. I've played with it, but it's really easy, and then the tables are consistent. Yeah.
No, I just.
SurveyMonkey subscriptions.
No, the budget. There goes the budget.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Well, that's kind of the thing. So now that we've got a little bit of feedback, and your comments regarding color and charts types were the exact same as the planning commission.
Okay.
So, which is awesome, because like I told Jason, don't waste your time making any of these changes yet. We may get completely different feedback from the board. It has
Well,
happened,
it has happened.
but knowing that, so that's why I'm kind of going back to that visual.
Mhm.
It obviously hits wrong.
Yeah.
And so we'll fix it.
And thank you for that, because I think it's also important for the public record to have the planning commission and us look at the same document. We generally do that with code changes and all that kind of stuff. And that way, if people are reading our minutes or whatever later, they're like, what? If we're looking at a different looking document. So, yeah, so thank you for.
Okay, I would say give us some grace on this one. We're gonna do our best.
Oh, yeah.
Next time we talk about it, give us a little bit of grace. And then we'll dial it.
Oh, yeah, and like in the first 2 years of a survey, there's lots of revisions that happen, and even, probably I would say the first 5. So, yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of little stuff, so I think overall you did a very good job.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a lot of data, so,
Well,
yeah.
and I do, honestly, I think even if we had said, you know what, publish it as it stands, I still think that the public can get information out of this. It still meets the goals of what we're looking for. You all want to deep dive in. Not a whole lot of citizens are going to call us and say, hey, why did you have plus or minus 10? That's not going to. So
Yeah, but I think it can be
this is a
helpful
really good,
for us to know those things.
yeah,
Like
I think it's a great call.
like for us, that's why we're here. We want to deep dive into this stuff and figure out
Yeah.
why people are, what's their anxiety level on water? What's their, reasoning for a jump of something 25% one year to the next?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't represent the whole town.
Right.
And we're never going to get that. You never get 100% in polling.
No.
So just, we
Right.
can use the data, but it may not be just.
But sometimes if we see year to year, people's anxiety about a situation or something is there, maybe it comes to us to be outreach to the community on if it's a water shortage thing or something like that, and keep seeing that year after year.
Totally.
Maybe it's an outreach on us of, hey, this is how much water we as a town have. This is where our allotment is from, our historical record. This is how much we use. And then we can assuage some of that anxiety that people might have out there just because it's a misunderstanding sometimes.
I agree with that fully. Yeah. We do have information that maybe they don't.
Well, and you guys might have different, Jason and I talked about overall, the satisfaction with town services and departments here is up. Now, I want to know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And again, if I see that dropping, that's kind of an internal thing that we can use. It's just a check, just a temperature check.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
but it's still good.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing on our agenda is items for October 9, 2024. We have CDOT Bridge and RRFP project update at the workshop, and then we'll swear in our new commissioner, Corey Jabor, trustee. Good Lord. And then public hearing on the 2025 budget introduction and the 2025 first round agency contribution applications. And we will have an executive session for the town administrator evaluation. And that is what these envelopes are about. And this information is confidential. Only Heather can waive the confidentiality of the executive session as well as this material. So there's instructions on the front. And anything else you want to add about?
For the next meeting, we will have the kennel IGA, we will have a CML policy committee appointment. Shaq from Region 9 will be here with a housing assessment legislative update.
Ooh.
And we're hoping to have a student liaison update for you at that time.
Nice.
Where James, when she gets a response, we'll put it on an agenda for you. And as far as the executive session, everything in there, you guys all have a procedure. So that's what I'm required to provide to you.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked your email, I'm gonna say I sent, but really it was Brent working my computer for me. We sent you a link to the evaluation in SurveyMonkey, so please do that. Don't just give a number or, like somewhat satisfied.
There's a
but
place
give
for
a
comments.
comment, yeah. So if we're asking the public for comment, please comment. And so read your email.
And we asked in the email not to take your time on this necessarily, so that we have time to compile the results and get everything ready for that meeting. So if you guys could please, October 4th at the latest.
Yeah.
Earlier better, because we'd like to be able to compile everything and have everything ready for that meeting, and we don't want to just sit around and wait for it. So
because SurveyMonkey takes time.
Well, and Cindy has a very full schedule with her job that she's teaching a lot, and so getting the two of us together to compile stuff is limited on the dates that we have available.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything else? I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Here we go. All right. Thanks, everybody.